Welcome back, everybody. This is the second video in a series that I've put together that walks you through the various steps that you need to take in order to be successful in completing the midterm project. Where we left off in the previous video is we created a new variable that captured the first offense. Now what we need to do is to go down to step C, where we have the first deliverable that I'm asking you for. So what I'm asking for is a count of the number of reports that stem from dorm rooms, and as part of this I want you to provide a pie chart with two categories: crimes that were filed at the dorm rooms and crimes that were filed at all other locations. So we'll go back to our data and I'll walk you through the steps that are required to be able to answer this question. So the first thing I'm going to do is scroll over to the variables where we've got location information. So we've got a few. We've got the campus that the offense occurred on. We have the location. We have also two other location variables if there's more detail that needs to be provided. But what we're going to do is we're going to work in this work with this location 1 variable. And so what we want to do first is we want to create a new variable where all we're capturing is whether a crime occurred at a dorm room or it did not. And so the first thing I'm going to do is insert a column here. And we'll call this column dorm crime. And we're going to make this just a yes or no variable. So what we'll do is we'll use the sort and filter button to filter out only offenses that occurred at dorm rooms. So we'll go up here and we'll click this button and we'll choose filter. I'm going to actually go back here. I'm going to select this column. I'm going to go up and click filter. Right, when you do, what you'll see is we now have a drop down arrow. And if you click this, what you'll see that every single location that's listed in our data is going to appear here. So the first thing we'll want to do is deselect everything. And now we're only going to select incidents where we have a crime occurring at a dorm room. And there's other housing location provided here, but we're going to work only with the 7 dorms that we have listed on our website. So they are in alphabetical order. So the first one that is going to appear is Chestnut Hall, and there it is. So I will select that. Next one is going to be Evergreen Hall. Select that. Next will be Holly Point. And then we've got a couple of M's. So we've got Magnolia Hall, Mimosa Hall, Mullica Hall, and then we're going to go down to Willow Hall. Alright, so now we have just dorm rooms selected here in this drop-down list. So when we click OK, what we'll see is that we've filtered out only cases where we have a dorm room listed. And so all the other cases that were in our data set are now not visible. So what we can do now is we could just go to our new column and we can type in yes. And then we can drag this down. And so now every incident that involved the dorm room is going to be labeled yes. And now when we go back to our filter button and we clear the filter, what we'll see is that all the other locations popped back up, and we could just call these no, and we can click and drag all the way down. Alright, so now we have a variable that says yes if the incident occurred at a dorm and no if it did not. And so what we can do now is create that pie chart that I asked you for in the workbook. And we can do that with our pivot tables that we learned in exercise 6. So what we'll do is go ahead and click insert, and actually what I'm going to first do is I'm going to select this whole column, and then I'll select pivot table. We'll just work with this variable. We could select all of them, but for now we'll just work with this variable, and we will paste this in a new worksheet. So we'll click OK. And when we do, we've got a new sheet that pops up. We've got our pivot table canvas, and we have our one variable here. So we'll go ahead and click that, and then I'll click and drag it down to the values field. So this is information you're going to need to provide in your report. So we've got 428 incidents that did not occur at a dorm room and 158 that did. So this will be information that you should provide in text in your report. Now what we can do is use the pivot table tools to insert a pivot chart. And so making sure that we've got our pivot table selected, under pivot table tools, we'll go to the Analyze tab and click Pivot Chart. And our default is a custom clustered column chart, but we want a pie chart, so we'll go ahead and select that and we'll click OK. And when we do, we see that we've got a pie chart that has the yes or no listed depending on whether the incident occurred at a dorm room or not. So I'm not going to go through the different things that you need to do to tidy up your chart because I've covered that in a previous exercise, and in fact the videos that I put up on YouTube as refreshers included the information about what you should be doing to clean this up. So I'm going to point you in that direction to get that information if you forget. What I'm going to do for now is I'm going to show you how you would get this into the report that you're putting together. And all you've got to do is right click on your chart and select copy. And if we go to our report, all we've got to do is right click, and for now what we're going to do is make sure that we paste this as an image. I've talked about why we want to do this, but we don't need to get into that now. So make sure you're choosing to paste it as a picture, and this way if you change information in your data, it's not going to change the chart itself, which would occur if we pasted it in another format. So make sure you're pasting as an image. Right, so given the time limits of YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. I'll come back in the third part of this video, and we'll go ahead and continue on with the different steps in our midterm project. So I'll see you at video 3.